That's
all right.
We're going
We can edit it on that.
Yeah, we'll edit it out for you.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Sister Girl session. My name is Niecee.
And I'm Voni.
And we have created this podcast so that we can come on and share our life experiences, lessons learned, and just to share some laughs, of course. And it's all developed around hopefully a good GenX vibe. You know what I mean?
I do.
So today we have a topic of caring for aging and sick parents. In the Gen X generation, we have a lot of baby boomers. Parents are living longer. And so we'd like to broach that topic because there are a lot of lessons that I've learned and experienced in that, and things that we feel like we could share with others who may be facing those same challenges. So with that, we continue with Sister Girl Session 2, Part 2. Caring for aging parents.
We did have to go back to the oncologist, but at this phase, we are going to most of her sessions. But there was another piece, Niecee, I know it's only a few years ago, but there was a part of it where the radiologist saw some of this stuff. I remember him escalating
and was asking for
more tests of her because when she was doing the radiation, he could see it.
He
saw some of the other stuff going on,
but he couldn't really speak
now one
on
of the other things we did, and nowadays if people talk about don't be an internet doctor, then when we learned more, when we got the first biopsy test, we didn't understand it.
Right.
So one of the things that now, yes, I know they give you those tests. We ask for every document as we started going through this process. But one of my lessons is to go ask them to interpret that test to you. Because I felt like after now hearing the first one and they minimized her having to do chemo or any other more scans. And then now we are. And what had happened was she had cancer now in her bones and it was in her ribs.
It cracked her rib.
It cracked one of her ribs.
And that's where the pain in the back and the back
and side came.
And so that's one of the things, and I will talk about the experience just from my reflection, my personal perception. I cannot claim anything. But I started to ask myself, because I've been with mama for years. And so she's always gone to the doctor. So now, and she had been back and forth to the doctor with the bronchitis and all the respiratory issues. And she had been having pain in her hips and the leg and all these things. And so when you're going back and forth to the doctor all the time, and you're like, say, for instance, for the respiratory issues.
All right.
If I had it to do over again, or I was caring for an aging parent, I'd say if my loved one is going back and forth to the doctor for the same thing over and over again, I will push for more. I need a deeper answer than you just continuing to prescribe this prednisone or whatever they decide to, all this stuff.
And the other benefit we have, I just want to interject here, because everybody has different levels of health care,
right,
and different benefits and things. And we're in America, we deal with insurance companies, etc. And we were fortunate that our mother was a government employee, had really good benefits.
Yes.
So it wasn't about financials.
Right.
It really wasn't. And I don't even know that it wasn't about asking for the test, to your point.
Right.
I don't think because we didn't ask for it or that the doctor didn't describe it, it just never even went that route.
I think that my own perception is that she was receiving a lot of what I call drive-through healthcare. You go to the appointment, they check the box, check. What? Oh, that's happening. Well, I prescribed everybody this that has that. And so you're going to get this. And because, this is what I do, and that's just how I feel, and that's what she got. Just like the oncologist said, oh, I've seen this before. So this is just this and this.
Yeah, and
you're not looking at the whole person.
But what I learned
you
from
checking
that,
some of the boxes now. on the other side
Okay.
of that, because I have worked in the healthcare industry, especially on the revenue side of it,
Mhm.
I do know that sometimes it's not even the doctors.
Okay.
Sometimes a lot of times the doctor may have a desire to dig into something a little further, but they know that they don't really have a case that they can present to the insurance company
Okay, that's fair.
that will be able to get it covered. Because,
Agree.
for some of these things, you're going to have an authorization.
Everything
now,
yeah, gotta have
even more so now, but
you just
you
without
need
a
an
pre-op,
authorization.
you ain't trying to get reimbursed.
Yeah, you're not getting paid now. You got to pay for it. We're
Yeah.
not paying for it. You're
Yeah.
going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So that's another note. Don't ever let anybody do anything until you know it's clear
You
through
got it
your
cleared through
insurance.
insurance, so you
because
gonna own it.
You gonna own it, yes. And so, yeah, I think that was part of it too. But it's just like a couple of those things where I think we have really big opportunities in our healthcare system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we went through that. So it just like a big whirlwind, all these different things culminating.
But I now, and I think we both did a lot of research, and Jackie, we were all kind of, once we understood what was happening, we started looking up. None of us are clinical. Okay.
No,
we got
we're not
one niece
clinical,
who's a
let's say
nurse.
that.
I got one niece who's a nurse, Niece's daughter. She's a nurse, but the rest of us aren't. And so I used the internet. I went online. I went to WebMD, different places to go understand that pathology report a little deeper. And that's where we understood that the type of cancer she had was aggressive and it was fast growing, just the terminology they use. Now
that's on the flip side of it, because
okay,
at the first,
and we didn't now we didn't know that then.
We didn't know that then. But and even when we went back to, like you were saying, to the oncologist, they were still very guarded. That's another thing. You can't always depend on what they're going to tell you in these appointments. I always say, me myself, and I recommend anybody. Well, I can't
Second
recommend.
opinion, what you gonna do?
Get
what would you do
to my health portal or my loved ones' health portal, the health information portal. They got the patient portals.
They got all the notes and all that.
Yes, where they have the records and the reports. And if you have to, go and request a copy of the records, because a lot of the things, I've even went to doctor's appointments on my own, and they be like, "Oh yeah, it's fine." Then you go look it up, and they saying all kind of stuff on the back end. But wait a minute, shit,
you didn't say that to me.
Wait, ma'am,
it happens,
ma'am. What? You know what I'm saying?
No, I do, but it's like in their references to certain diagnoses that they didn't say to you.
They didn't say to me. So you having access to those portals, which, like you were saying, took us into a deeper dive into some of this terminology. Once we said, okay, so they saying this here, and this was referenced. And the interesting part to me is that after we got the diagnosis, of course, they admitted her to the hospital, more tests. She was mad about that.
Yeah, she didn't
she didn't want to be there, especially then. And so,
this is July, guys. That's your timeline.
Yes,
March was the press diagnosis. This occurred. Is it June or July? It might have been June. Is it June or July?
June.
June
or early July. Was it Jill's birthday yet?
Not yet.
No, June.
Must have been June.
Yeah.
So March, June. So this is where we had the little small nodule.
It was a little small. We don't went
no scan. Radiation
really,
only.
She ain't even finished the little radiation.
Yeah, she ain't even finished radiation yet, the treatments. So it took her a while to do the pre-ops and all that to even get to the radiation. So that's part of it too.
Yeah.
And then once she got in there, this flared up during that time.
And so
now we tour which event next? So
no, I'm saying that we were at the hospital, and they admitted her. I had to think about, where was I here? Okay, so they admitted her, and they are running more tests, and so they decided to do biopsy. They wanted to go test to
those
see.
Tissues.
They wanted to find out the origination point.
Yes, I know. I forgot. You
just
took me back. Okay,
yes.
And
so they go
to
do this, and they took it out of her
soft tummy,
her soft tissue of her stomach, and so with those tests, we had to wait. But I don't want to jump ahead. because I do want to state that at that point, because I started thinking about my mama. I'm playing all this back. I done went back. She wanted to go home.
She did. She was just adamant, like, get this stuff over and let me go
that
home.
She might not make it home. Yeah. And she couldn't. By this time, she was having really a hard time walking. We had her on a walker. Yeah. We had her in a wheelchair. We were calling in and asking for different things. So
now our stepsister though gave us some materials that
that's
we
the
other thing is to go your community and get resources.
She let us use some of the things that my stepmom had used during her illness. Moms, I miss moms. Much love. My mother's. So we got her home, and we got her home. They did the test on the tissue, and that's when we started diving in and looking up all this data and finding out that it was fast spreading and all this stuff. But little did we know, because even to this day, I will say, and jump ahead, I don't know where we heading, and we're new to this podcast thing, so bear with us. But they never did really find out the origination
of it.
Never. Well, we found out by looking at her records, it was not voluntarily to us, voluntarily told to us that when they went in to do the tissue, somehow the soft tissue that they tried to test did not work, and they had to send it. They used the same biopsy that they had did on her breast to try to diagnose what the origination
of the cancer was. And so the second biopsy was unusable. Basically, they went back to the other one and then tried to use it to go figure out the location of it. And to this day, no one will tell us what that was.
And so
now we believe. I don't know how you feel. I believe it was related to her smoking in the past. I don't know. Or it could have been her lip. I don't know where it came from, but it's like there was enough
in her lungs.
I do too. And that's where now, as you learn more, as I have learned more about cancers and different types of cancer, that those are types that spread and different things.
I think the breast was secondary.
It was.
And now what we did see from the records is that the breast was definitely not the primary. We know that, but we don't know where the origin. They cannot tell us. We couldn't find it in the records, I should say. But they didn't tell us almost any of that. We dug into her patient portal and I asked for all her records because I was so upset. I'm still, as you can tell, I'm a little salty about it.
She on the wish factor.
I'll be on the wish factor if there are any lawyers out there that feel like I got a case, get in contact, because I'd be like, somebody need to pay, because my mama did everything she could and she should have.
Well, how many appointments did you count? You did a count.
I did a count of all the stuff where she reported problems with her lungs. I counted them up. I have to go look at the records.
But it was a double. Did 40? It was like
getting admitted to the hospital. And that what I found when I audited her records, I went in and she was telling us a story. She was asking for the help during the time. It told a story, and her. Oh my God! It was they were prescribing the same thing. This drive through health. This is what we do. This is what we do. Here you go. Here you go. Oh, girl, when I went through a whole big thing when I went and audited her record. I reached out to lawyers and they were like, "Well, it may be a case, but we're not gonna take it." But I'm like, man, I kind of backed off. But man, I'm like, somebody need to pay.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take the case? Holla at your girl, because. What we experienced was not right. And the most interesting part, tell them about the oncologist.
Yeah. Now that second visit to her after the last diagnosis. Now I can make people feel very uncomfortable. I know I have a tendency to do that, but I'm usually very serious, probably business minded. But she could not wait. She's sitting in there. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We, never acknowledging that she should have, could have done anything else, honey." I came up in that room. I had my list of questions, and she wasn't getting out of there till she answered every single one of mine. And every time I would ask a question, she'd be like, she had her hands on her knees. She's like ready to go.
Jumped up.
I was like, no, honey, I got a few more questions that I got for you here. And I was going to get through every one of them. And do you know that was the last time? They never changed who my mother was assigned to as her oncologist, but we never saw that lady again.
They used to come up with everything in the world on why she was not there.
Mm-hmm. Now, we could go into a whole bunch of other stuff that happened associated with that, but I don't know how appropriate, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
It would be to go into some of those logistics related to her treatment. But there's some more to it, even about the oncologist that we could share. But I don't want to besmirch or defame anyone without knowing it's appropriate to say.
Yeah, but we were disappointed.
We were disappointed. To say.
I was disappointed in a PCP or her medical group and the cancer treatment people.
Yeah. And we left. We held a little grudge.
We did.
We held a little grudge. And this is the thing. I had referred Mama to that.
Both of us. We were all going to see the same.
We all going to see the same doctor.
I never seen her again.
I did when I went back one time afterwards, and I looked at her and I was talking to her and I was like, I can't do this. I can't. I just can't. I held a grudge. I know that's what it was, and I can't trust you. You didn't take care of my mama.
Right.
I can't trust you to take care of me now. You can't do it. So I had to go somewhere else. Yeah, you fumbled that ball. So we had to go. I had to leave, but it was the lessons for me, as I told you earlier. I would have wanted to be more active. She was private and it was her business, but it wasn't like she wouldn't have told us, or if we had asked, she'd probably shared it with us. And that was something that I would tell anybody. If you think that your parents are willing to tell you something, ask for it. Ask them so that you can go help them navigate. Healthcare is so complex. So many things to go work from, especially if they're willing to share it with you. Go help them dig in. Go show up with
the patient portals.
Go get access to the portals where you will get a lot more details, lab tests, anything referenceable. They have to put it in those portals because they submitting that to them insurance companies so that they can get their fund. Do it. That's where you're going to learn. Right. That is the way to get it.
Yes.
I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Just go get the access or go participate in it. Now, some people don't want you in their business. I respect that too.
Right.
But if you can have a conversation with your agent or ill parent or loved one, whatever relation, they could be a friend that you might be taking care of. Ask some of those questions. Ask.
And I'd say also go to the appointments with them as much as possible. Be another if they are admitted to the hospital.
My gosh, yes.
Always try to have somebody there with them.
24/7.
24/7.
And the reason
you never
why
know.
you don't know when the doctors are showing up.
You never know when they're gonna show up.
You don't know when they come in. And me and Mama used to laugh about this.
We go in rotation.
We go in rotation. I got one night, and we rotate in. But the thing, they not getting no rest much in there because I call it the vampires are coming in there. These people doing the lab work. They doing their job. I'm not saying that, but they come in so often and on their routines. I got to do your vitals. I got to do your blood sugar. I got to go do these things. But the thing is that the other family members that are there with them can be the eyes and ears. And especially when they are not feeling well, things are happening around them and they are responding, but it's not with a sense of conscious response.
Right.
They are not they are just saying, okay, do whatever you need to do to help me feel better. Nobody's asking, but what about this? But what you said this last time, what about that? There's nobody there when that person is that sick to be that advocate for them. So you need an advocate with you, especially during these more chronic, and as they're aging.
Yes.
I just feel like it's something you want to have.
All of it. Yeah. Yes. I agree. So I'm looking at my notes here. And so I want to make sure we touch on the emotional aspect of it. Like different facets of that to start out. What
you gonna ask me? I don't tell.
Let me speak to it first.
All right. What you gonna say?
the fear
Okay.
of losing a parent. Like I said, when I got the news, I about fell apart. I had so many flashes and so many things just run through my head. Like, what does this mean? Am I fear? Because you hear about that much cancer, and I had just went through this with my stepmom. You have a healthy respect for, you know, the damage it could do to the human body, and so the fear of losing your parent and being able to reconcile those feelings while still being able to be functional and supportive of the person that's dealing with it, because they have their own fears and emotions. And like we said, Mama, she was like kind of, you know, blank slate, like she was holding
You
it close
couldn't
to
even
the
tell.
vest.
We would talk to her, engage with her,
Yes.
but when she was going through all those major events, she would talk to us, and every now and again she'd give me a little bit of her true feelings.
Yes,
you know.
yes.
I know we'll get to that a little later, but I remember I told you about that last time she was in the hospital when they finally told her about her hip socket and stuff. And we had started to talk about power of attorney, healthcare proxies, last will testament, properties, doing your end of life activities.
Yeah.
Now we waited. That's another thing. I cannot
hold
change
on.
it. You don't do that yet?
No,
Okay. All right.
I'm talking about the emotions.
The emotion of it. Okay. All right. Sorry, I got confused.
No, she's Bonnie passionate. That's what's going on with Bonnie. She
I
opened up the Pandora's box. Bonnie is the type of person that holds everything close to her business.
I hold it close.
You could talk about it more than you will express the actual emotion of it.
I don't.
And so this is how, because she'll talk about it, but the expression of the emotion.
Usually gonna cry. So Niecee goes into fear. I go into fix it.
By like fix it mode.
I fix it mode. That's me. That's my reaction. So even in that moment with Mama, I go into fix it. I didn't go. I had to go focus on Mama.
Yeah.
What was she doing? How was you doing? Okay, I got to go tell my brothers and sisters. I kind of go into this other being almost, so that I can step out of the emotion.
Yes.
I don't want to address the emotion.
I feel the compassion of it.
You are the more, that's what I say. Yes, you're the more emotional one.
And go through the thoughts and feelings of, because I'm sure there's some people out there that go through the same thing as me.
And me too. Same personality.
You almost feel like a guilt and a frustration of not being able to fix it. Because you want to care for them and you love them and you don't want to see them in pain and you want to take it away from them and you want to help. And one thing I will say is that for, like we touched on it earlier, everybody handles everything differently. So while you and I, of course, we lived with Mom, so we were her caregivers. It wasn't even really a question up for discussion. We doing this, but our siblings, we have a sister and two brothers, and then she has a host of grandchildren and
adults, adults and
great grandchildren that they care, they were here, but it wasn't like they were in the rotation or doing any of those type of things. And everybody has to deal with things in their own way. And so I will be, and Lord knows that I'm not saying anything was wrong with it, but when I went through it, it did. I sit down and pause about it, like where
y'all doing?
Where my sister? Where my brother said we got
that's the difference. That's the difference. So this is the middle child thing that Niecee go through. Whereas I'm the oldest, I don't even think like that. I'm just like, you got what you got.
These are real thoughts.
These are real. No, I'm not diminishing. No, I'm not diminishing it. I recognize that how you respond though, because you kind of like, what y'all doing?
Yeah,
what you
I didn't say nothing to nobody.
I know what you mean.
But I would be lying if I say I didn't.
No, and see, and that didn't come through my head.
It
didn't. Because and see, and I think it's just about, it is birthing orders create different dynamics within the family.
It does.
Right?
So So we were talking about the emotional part of it.
And that was mine. Fix it.
Yes.
I did not release
everybody
any
dealt-
emotion.
yeah,
I did
no,
not.
no.
I refused. I was gonna fix this. That was my goal.
But see, me and Mama, we both are emotional beings. I was a lot like her in that way, and so I like where Bonnie would come in like, "Mama, is it time to eat? Do you got to take your medicine?" Mama be over there on the sidelines telling me, "Here she comes." So my
I
way
know
of
they're
doing
talking
it,
about me.
and
I know.
so. And my way of doing it, I'll climb in the bed with her. That's one of the things I miss the most about her. I climb in bed with her. I'll be laying on show. We watch TV, talk about some things, just do the love thing. And my ear, she probably like,
I gotta do. That's what I do. I gotta do.
This up. Move that.
I gotta feed you. I gotta go do. I gotta fix it up. I gotta clean it up.
Everybody got their role.
That's my job.
Yes, and so let me see here.
That's the emotion for me. It was
yes.
And I don't know how our other siblings felt about it. I just said I had to fix it. That was my job.
Yes.
That was my emotion. Now, was it healthy? No, it wasn't. It's not a healthy way to look at it. And I won't say I haven't grieved, because I do believe I grieved for her loss, but have I let it all out? No, I still don't know that I have. I don't know. But there is a part of me that I told you before, and I'm not gonna cry.
I'm gonna wave some
air to me.
Wave some air. Is right behind her eyeball.
I was always afraid that if I did, I wouldn't come out.
And I just let it out all throughout.
Yeah, and I just kind of say, "Ooh, I gotta shut that down, because I don't want."
You gotta be able to function.
I gotta live. I gotta, I got family. I got job. I got all these things. So it's a fear. It probably still is a fear that I have.
And just like when you're dealing with your parent, because it shifted really quickly, but I can imagine that a lot of people that may end up listening to this podcast could have parents that end up going into a decline state over a long period of time.
Oh, longer.
Yes, because ours were short and swift, and the decline was swift.
Surprising.
So how do you make sure that they keep their dignity even in that declining state? Because that person. My mama was a proud person. She was our queen. I tell you,
you had to keep her clean. She kept herself clean. You better keep her clean.
Before anybody came over, she like, we gotta go. We had to do a whole shower, hair done, everything like that.
Yeah, and so that's a part of their dignity.
Yes, yes.
That's what I see.
And my perspective on it is that, to me, we both always made sure we respected what she wanted.
We asked.
We asked. And we like, okay, what we gotta do? Like you said, we tasked her. Well, it's time for a shower. Let's get your face done. You get your hair done. Let's comb your hair. Let's get you all fixed up. Get your clothes changed. And it got to be a challenge. And she'd be like, I don't want y'all to have to deal with me on that. And then one day she had decided that she was getting better, and she was not going to be worried about this walker. And she was gonna, be walking to the bathroom and stuff back, which is within her room.
But you got to give her some context as to why she thought that. Now, we kind of think about, or she taught us it's a dignity thing, but also she was trying to be very positive about her outcome.
Yes,
and what she wanted to have happen.
Yes,
and she believed it was somewhat mind over matter.
Yes,
if I can go tell you that I can overcome this, I am going to overcome it. And that was part of her. That's
kind of how we live.
That's how we live life.
Yeah.
And she's like, you can get through this. This is just a thing. You set your mind to it. You can do it.
Right. Yes. And so that day she was like, she woke up one morning.
Yeah. And I remember it was the morning, and we about to go to work.
Yes.
We about to go to our offices, here in the home. But we ready to go to work. We get in to come see her that morning. She gives us this news, like, this is what I'm about to do. I'm about to not use this walker. I'm going to go walk myself back to the shower. Now, keep in mind, her hip, but now this time we didn't know. It was deteriorating. We didn't know how deep it had gotten until another event. But we knew it was bad. She couldn't walk, because she could barely scoot her feet. Now, she could use the walker and kind of help glide herself there. But she believed that morning she was gonna go do it. Me and Niecee did it. Now, Niecee got this thing.
People.
Niecee got this thing where she blink. If you see her,
see me, but
yeah,
but
she doing this blinking thing. All of us who know her know. She not understanding this situation.
Yeah,
what are you doing? What are you talking about? Me and her look at each other. She blinking at me. I got my eyebrows up. And I'm sitting here like, okay, Mom. I said, now, Mama, are you this don't sound like a good plan, Mama. She was so adamant.
Serious. And
it was like that dignity part. Yeah. She was adamant that she was gonna go do it. Yes. So we had to come up with a tactic.
I did.
To remain, to give her some dignity. Niecee said, you want to tell her what you said? Okay, Mama, you negotiated that.
I'm like, okay, I can understand that. But how about this? Maybe on the first round, maybe we'll leave the walker, but I'll have you hold on to Mom. I'm just gonna walk with you just to make sure. Just so we can wait make till sure, we hear it. And just make sure that when you do it, that we are here on our breaks or something like that. Don't do this while we not in here. So at that time, she decided she wanted to go right then, and I walked along with her. Remember, to the bathroom, and she made it.
She did, but I know she was in a lot.
She was in a lot of pain. She didn't try it no more.
She didn't.
But we had to let her
try.
We had to let her try. And she went there.
Yeah.
And she came back.
Yeah.
And her constitution said, I will not have them bring me that walker. She did later, but not during that event, because she was trying.
She was adamant.
And it broke my heart to pieces when I had to, when she was like, I'm going to walk again, and I had to tell her mom, when they had told her
that last hospital stay.
Yeah, that she wouldn't be able to walk anymore. And she didn't take that away from the
hospital stay. So this is again, when this is a
really important
this is
part.
A lesson.
Yes.
We heard the what was it? What that was called, Niecee? Because it was the
hospitalist.
It's a orthopedic surgeon. Because they were trying to understand what was happening with her hip at the time.
Yes.
I think it was an orthopedic surgeon. Well, they do their rotations, and I was there. Were you there too?
Yes.
We were both there this time. So it was during the day. He came through, and he started telling us that he had looked at the x-rays. They had done some x-rays of her leg, and that there was not enough cartilage or bone there to they would have to replace the whole thing, but they given her diagnoses and the stage of cancer she had being so progressive, they didn't believe it was necessarily a good idea for them to go like recreate her socket because of the bone. It had gotten into her bone. Now, did she associate that with walking? I don't think she did.
They did say it though. They said that she won't be able to
walk. See, I don't know that she heard.
She said it. I remember him saying it, and I was like, man, she didn't. Because when I said it to her,
I know.
Because she kept trying to, and I was so afraid. And I know my mama, I done lived with her for years. She would try to do stuff when you not around.
Your back,
She's like, shoot, I got this. I'm about to, I'll be like, mama, please, mama. And so I had to tell her, I was like, mama, you won't be able to walk, because we was trying to get her to use the
commode and
the wheelchair, the walker, whatever we could to get her around, and she didn't want to hear it, and she didn't believe me. She waited till you got off work.
She did. She
asked you, and unfortunately,
and that changed her constitution.
Yeah,
because she asked me to validate. She said, "Voni, did them doctors say that I wasn't gonna be able to walk?" And that was the most heartbreaking thing.
Heartbreaking
to have to say.
And I still, that's one of my regrets. I wish I never told her. I felt like maybe she would have stayed a lot longer, because I saw how emotionally.
You never lied to her.
I didn't.
But you felt like because you went and told her up front versus her asking, or what do you mean?
I was just afraid that she would try to do stuff when she was.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And me telling her broke her spirit a little bit.
Oh,
and I believe that very wholeheartedly, that when we really truly believe that something,
you can try to overcome it.
Yes, it'll cause you to hold on a little longer, and that's a little bit selfish of me, because Mama was in a lot of pain, but I did have regret. Like, maybe I shouldn't have told her.
Okay,
and it wouldn't have broke her spirit like that.
Now, I just wouldn't lie to her.
I'm not a good liar.
No, I wasn't gonna lie. When she asked me, I was like, "Yeah, Mama, that's what they said." Yeah, I couldn't lie. I don't lie to my mama.
Yeah, I didn't lie.
Yeah. But she could tell when we lied.
Come tell her, but I felt like I had to tell her because she was doing a lot.
Yeah,
Mama.
She wanted that part of the independence.
Yes,
and her dignity, because it gave her because one of the it just kind of surprised me too, though, because I think back on the last outing we went with her. So she does birthday cards for every person.
I still look at that place every time I go by.
Yeah, me too. I can't go in the store, really.
Right.
I can't go in that store. But go by it all the time. But we took her out to Hallmark cards to go.
She was buying our birthday cards.
She didn't buy mine. She bought the August birthday cards. It was she had a routine.
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah.
And she kept saying, "It's time for me to go do my August birthday cards." Now this is was it after hospitalization?
Yeah.
Or is it before?
After.
It was after.
That was the last time she ever left the house.
She left the house. Okay, you're right. So we got her there. It was a tough trip, but we got her there. I tried to get her to eat something. She wouldn't eat.
She started not
eating. And then, because I was on her about food, that's my part of my fix-it thing. I was trying to get her to eat. She didn't have no appetite to eat. Or if it did, it kind of made her sick. And because the last time she was in the hospital, she did have chemo. And they had put a port in her and all that. But those activities too were part of her dignity. That was her brand, so to say. There were certain things that Mama did that was part of her brand. All her kids
Christmas cards and her
Christmas cards or birthday cards. There were certain
things
that she did that you knew was Mama.
Yeah,
that was Mama. Yeah.
When she figured out that she couldn't move about, it did shift her.
Yeah.
It did shift her.
Yeah.
And so I say all this to say is that there's a balancing act, and it depends on the person, but allowing them to have their dignity while still keeping them safe is super important.
It is very.
And being able to discuss it with them, because we did have good dialogues with Mama, and communication to me is key. Through all this, we talked a lot. I
didn't feel like I talked to her because I think I had fear of it my own self. I talked about with her the care part of it, not the emotion side of it.
I did. I didn't do it.
Her
all the time.
Yeah,
but most of the time when I try to talk about stuff, she just it. She didn't talk a whole lot about it. She might say, "Well, I was just thinking about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to live through this." She won't talk about the feeling part of it, kind of like where you going, like, what am I going to do about it type thing. So that's kind of the way.
Oh, okay. So I understand.
Okay. Yeah, she wouldn't, because I'd ask, I'd be, I'm like,
how you feeling,
Mama? What you thinking, Mama? That's my part. What you thinking, Mama?
I'm usually thinking about doing. Yeah, you thinking about you want to know how I feel. I ain't feeling right now.
Talk to me right now. Yes.
Yeah.
And so even like we will say that when it came down to it, and she couldn't really sustain herself, and it wasn't really much more they could do. And when it came time for hospice,
we
had
been working up to it though. We knew it, and because I worked in healthcare, and I worked around physicians, nurses, etc.
Yeah,
who have worked in hospice and palliative, and some of those designations that you'll hear about people with chronic conditions, etc. I had them a little bit to lean on, not as just about what to ask for. What do I make sure happens? They help guide me through it, and I thank God for them.
What are some of those things
that you have to think about? What should you expect from these agencies?
Right.
What services do they do? If somebody tells you are going to what they call palliative oncology services, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Is that just, and what I learned was it just means that it may not be curable always. Some people are, some people aren't, but it's managing the spread of it. So if you go on chemo, you're just trying to manage it to not be spreading.
Yes.
So you're just trying to do that.
Yes.
So not
she
the
went
major
on palliative
steps.
care before she went on hospice.
Yes.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where I would take her to the other. It wasn't the same cancer center. It was a different location.
Different type. Yes.
And I loved that team.
Yes.
They were very, now they were very direct. And but going through those stages, it armed us, or I might have been there present, but I was the one who was taking the information given to me by everybody. Niecee, Jackie, different people, that I would come with my list so that I could, because I had to report back. So we all had to be ready to report back and make sure she
was the most flexible in her work,
and I could flex and go and do it, and because I knew, and I knew what to ask, and I had people around me to go ask if I didn't understand.
Right.
So it was a good. I feel blessed that I had that opportunity to have those resources available to me.
Right. Yes.
So
yes, good stuff. Because when you don't know what to expect, like when we're like, are they gonna come and give her a bath? We expecting a bath every day. Where the people at? You gotta be able to understand how
if
they
she can't
work.
Get up and go to the bathroom.
Yes.
Do I have to ask for a catheter? Is that something they automatically do? It's little stuff like that you should know.
Or do they provide a bed? Do they provide a wheelchair? Oh my God, Mama, she was like, shoot. She's sitting there like the queen she was. She was not getting in that hospital bed.
She just saw this bed they brought. Now they did put her on.
A lot of people would be thankful for that bed, but Mama didn't. Mama had an adjustable bed.
She had an adjustable bed. But I had told her to bring her everything she could have. She looked at that bed. She's like, I ain't moving out of my bed. I don't know what you brought there. You might as well tell them.
And she had her bed propped up.
Yeah.
When she told her,
you might as well take that because I ain't sleeping in that. I got
my bougie. Quit that, girl.
That's all right. But I told him to bring everything.
Yes,
I wanted everything that she had access to. So, and then if she can say what she don't want, and then we'll get it up out of here. Right. That's what happens.
So, being able to know, to ask questions,
and to have resources. That's why I say being an advocate.
Ask the workers that do come into your home. If you have somebody come into your home, ask questions. Ask about the medications. Yeah, that's what we did. We I want to know everything, because what we're not going to do is just be over here flying blind, and if you don't ask, a lot of times they won't say anything. So being communicative.
Because we did hospice in the home. Yes, that's the difference. We didn't send her to a facility. That was because she didn't want to. She made it very clear that she didn't want to go nowhere. You didn't want her to go nowhere. And I didn't either. But when it got really hard to move her, and we didn't know whether she needed a catheter or she, we didn't know what to do. Get her bathed and change, and she was in really bad pain. That's when the hospice nurse came in and said, "Well, you guys really should think about sending her to the hospital." And all we had to do was look at Mama, and then we looked at her. And was like, "Nope,
no, that's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. We ain't sending her nowhere." Yeah. So you're gonna walk us through how we're going to do this, and we did it, and that's what happened. So it was giving her dignity at the same time, so that she could have, and she at this time, by the time we got to hospice, we had all kind of resigned ourselves that it was she's gonna pass.
Be thankful for the days,
all the moments and every minute we had with her. Just manage her care. What does she need? Making sure she had water, whatever she was able to partake of, and help her manage through it.
And so that leads into one of the last key points that I wanted to make sure we talked about, that you talked about earlier. The planning part of it.
Oh yeah, we waited a little late. We were late, and we knew better, and I knew better.
I know better now. I still need to get my affairs in order.
I got it written up. I ain't done nothing with it. I just haven't done nothing with it. I got it written up, but
I need to get it in order.
At least it's documented. It's documented, but you're right. So what we learned through that process, and again, having a network of good people around you, is so critical. We had a attorney that was a neighbor who helped us. Him and his paralegal were awesome.
They came in the home.
They even came in our home and helped write and draft it and notarize and do all of those things for her, but we were like at the 11th hour. That's what I would tell you. Trying to get affairs in order, legal affairs in order. But we got it done. I'm not gonna.
You should like we had to think about bank accounts and things like that too, and how
she did that pretty early. She did her bank stuff earlier when she was still a little bit more mobile. She added me to the accounts and stuff like that because there are certain things that you can't do when somebody's single with an account, that it either goes into probate or different things. I'm not trying to advise anybody, but go figure out what's going on in your area and how it has to work. But in her particular account, that's what they told us would have to be done in order for us to have any access or responsibility for her affairs following we did the will, who was going to be the executor, all of those things. And she gave us insight to what she had, what she didn't have, how much it was, why she's still there and able to talk. Now, what I did realize when I tried to get her to talk about it, that was part of what she didn't want to talk about. And when we started doing the healthcare proxy pieces, there are some very specific questions about resuscitation. What extents do you need to go through to extend life? She didn't really want to extend about it. Now, by this time, she knows she couldn't walk. She knew some of those things. She hadn't quite, everything hadn't gotten worse, I guess. She wasn't just laying down in the bed. She was sitting on the side of her bed. She was up watching TV, doing different things. But when I finally got her one day to go answer the questions, I had to kind of put the non-emotional face on, ask her the questions in a way that weren't over legalized, if that makes sense, because sometimes the wording on the forms and things are not as clear. And my mom was a very intelligent person, but they use legalese a lot. And just trying to help people understand about resuscitation or what extent people will go through. And I'm not clinical, I'll say again, but I just work advice. I can't give her an advice. I'm just saying, what do you want to have happen? And I just had to say yes, no, you do, fill out those forms. And that was a part of all that documentation. And remember that another thing I learned through that process is there's a different power of attorney for your affairs and other things. And then there's another one for your health care. A lot of people don't know, oh, you got durable power of attorney. Yeah, over that. But in some environments, you have to have a healthcare power of attorney.
Exactly. Yes.
So there's different documents and things. If you have property, go talk to somebody about what you need in your state, what and with your system. So that was one of my lessons.
Yes.
Don't wait till the very last minute, and then be okay having those uncomfortable conversations. No matter when it happens, even if it is the 11th hour. It's still good to have done it.
Yeah.
Because if something were to happen to her or something
before we did all
before
that,
we had done all that, we'd have been like, because you got emotion and you got other people involved. We her children. All of us are her children, and yes, I'm the oldest, but it'd be without those things. No one of us had any more right to respond. You know what I mean? We're all her children. So her declaring who's going to help make the decisions. This is what I want and I don't want. Those are critical things to know about any parent or any loved one that you might know.
I agree. And so it was, even after she passed away, we still had a lot of legal things to deal with, but that made that
process so easy.
So that is highly encouraged.
So easy. You just had to go file this at the courthouse, go do the bank, this paperwork, do this, turn the keys over to the car.
Exactly.
Do all that little stuff. You just it was stuff to do, but it made it so much easier.
It made it so much easier.
It did.
So I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted to?
Oh, I don't know. This was very therapeutic for me a little bit.
Really? Yeah, I feel like
talk it out and say that. It feels good to kind of say it.
And I really hope that this helps somebody who happens upon it and listens to it.
Me too.
They can help them in their journey if they have to face this at any time in their life. I hope that it will be a help to them in some kind, shape, form, or fashion.
I would say though, too, Niecee, though, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get into the weeds about. We skipped a lot of time frame. But as we Niecee lived with mom 10 years. I lived with mom about what is it, 6 or 7 years, right? 18 to 20, 22. So that was it. 5 years I lived with her again. But through all of that, there were other events that were happening that we haven't talked about here. But as Niecee kind of said, there were things that later, as you went back through her healthcare records, you found and saw that were repeating and that we didn't know. When I told you about that nodule with her thing, we didn't know that she only has so many times that they can do this scan before they stop doing it. They'll still have you keep coming to see the pulmonologist, but you just go in there and say, "How you doing today?" And they do their little thing and they read you and listen to your lungs and you move on. And all I would do is say, "Mama, how'd your pulmonology report visit go?" "Oh, good, baby, honey. I ain't gotta go back for 6 months." She's
up in the hospital.
And then right behind it. But just didn't know. You didn't go.
Like,
so that was the little things I just wanted to add, is that we didn't go into all the details. But if one day maybe a topic will come up where we'll get to give a little bit more insight in certain areas where applicable.
I agree. I say be aware, be involved as much as you can.
Agree.
Self-care. That's one thing that I feel like we didn't talk about a lot.
Fair point. Through it all.
For the caregiver.
Oh, man. It gave me a whole different insight on that.
Yes, because it wears on you. It's a challenging time for you, and it's just as much emotionally challenging and physically challenging a lot of times as it is that the person that's going through it. And so being able to, thank goodness it was two of us, where I don't know how I would have managed that if I was by myself. But having the support to be able to, sometimes I could step away and have a moment to myself to meditate, to read, to just decompress, or just to veg out on a show, just to try to be me for just a moment, even though I was still carrying this with me, but just go for a walk or go for a drive or do something to have a moment to myself, because especially in those last days, it got intense and it was, it becomes a challenge for you, and you kind of go through some emotional states and have states of depression and different things like that. And being willing to go and talk to somebody if you're not okay. Like for me,
I did therapy afterwards.
I did too. I did too, because I was super highly emotional, and it was I don't know. We talked about it a lot, but I was there when my father died. And he died in my arms. I was there when Mama died. I wasn't there when my moms died, but I was there shortly thereafter. So losing those people that you love so much is taxing on you. And Mama was really, really close. Her, like Daddy, I didn't handle that well at all, and I didn't manage it emotionally effectively, and I went down the rabbit hole of alcoholism after that. And I was determined this time that I wasn't going to lose myself in this, which after all these years,
you've done so well.
I've done so well, but that if that would have been a time
that could have been it
to fall off the wagon, as they say, it would have been after I lost my mama, so I went and saw somebody. So being able and being okay to self-care, go and seeing somebody and taking care of yourself and seeking help when you need it, outside help, family help, talking to my, thank goodness we have a strong tribe where I could call. I had you till we leaned on each other. We still leaned on each other. We still cry together.
Yeah, you remember the time when we go in the dining room, Mama's room across the way from us, we go in the dining room, like sitting over there having these real serious conversations.
Real
like, what we gonna do? Okay, you gonna do this? I can do this.
We talking real low.
We talking low because we can't hear.
She got body.
But it's that
thank
support.
Goodness, that support. Yes,
and not everybody has it.
Right, and reaching out to my children and grandchildren, and they held us up and held us down. And
remember we should have talked about that. Remember when Jackie and her friend got us an earlier appointment for the palliative part.
Yes.
They wanted us to wait a month.
We had
before we could get her an appointment
all over the place.
So when I tell you we had a tribe, oh my god,
still got to try.
We still trying to hold it for Mama, because Mama was, and Daddy too.
Yes.
We were just blessed with really. We weren't. You kind of heard us talking
parents,
about,
but they were good parents.
In our last first episode about some of our family dynamics and our parents, and as you could tell, they ended up divorcing and things, but they gave us a really strong foundation of love. Number one was the core message about it. You couldn't be fighting, you couldn't be, we fought, don't get me wrong, but they emphasized, you don't fight with your family, you don't do that, but and sense of family and love. That we can have that. And so as now we kind of the elders of the tribe, we try to carry that on and be that voice and with our children and how we raise the family. Because it's not even what I learned from all of this, and at first I didn't take on that. I take a lot of responsibility for a lot of things, but until Mama passed, did I ever feel like I had that responsibility? I didn't, because that was hers, and she wore it loud and proud, and it wasn't mine to take. It wasn't mine to take, or mine or yours, right? She didn't have. She carried that. She was the
new
queen.
matriarchs now.
Yeah,
Bonnie more so than me, but I'm coming in a strong second. I walk with you in the journey.
I know, but I don't feel alone with it. That's the blessing
of it.
That's the blessing.
Yeah, but even if somebody doesn't have that in their life, I say still reach out. Yeah, there are free resources and things like that out there. Try to get some support wherever you can. Talk to somebody and try to get information and support. And then if you ever have the opportunity to foster a family around you, whether they blood or not, then that communication and that support and that love of your loved ones is super important.
Absolutely.
So that's what I have to say about that. Feeling like Forrest Gump over here. That's
all I got to say.
That's all I have to say about that. This has been really, really therapeutic and healing, and I really do pray that this makes sense to somebody, because I know we're just talking. This is how we talk.
This is how we interact. Yeah.
And so hopefully you all receive some value from it. I think this went really well. We'll likely break it up in a series because it has gone on for a while, but I'm glad I wouldn't take it back. We gotta
get it through.
And we didn't even dig into everything, just like Bonnie said. So we ask that you hang in there with us. Keep coming back. We appreciate you stopping by. Like I spoke about earlier, I do want to create a SisterGirl community, a sisterhood, a place where we all come to learn and grow and evolve together. Because nobody is meant to walk this journey alone. No. And even if it has to be virtual, let's do it, So keep tuning in. Keep coming back. We appreciate you spending time with the SisterGirl sessions today. And we're going to go ahead and close, and you all have a great rest of your time, and we'll see you on the next session. Peace.